In this episode, I'm going to look at a relatively old radio. Now, this one's not a vintage radio. This is a more modern vintage radio, but it's still over 30 years old, and it needs a little bit of service. So let's take a look at this real wood radio of recent vintage. This one goes back to about 1988. It was a GE Replica, but hey, this is actually not a bad radio. Check this out. I have another old radio to work on. Now, this one is not as old as it would look. This is a reproduction. I've had this radio for at least 30 years now. It was given to me by a friend. It was a wedding present. And a buddy of mine who's in the radio business, what else could he think of to give me as a wedding gift but an old-fashioned looking radio? This one's had lots and lots of hours on it. It's been used for years, and
road out.
It's developing some issues. You can hear it just drifts all over the place. So I think it might be worthwhile to open this unit up. Hey, it's not made in China, it's made in Malaysia. It's a General Electric, of course. They were the ones that made this replica radio to look like an old GE radio. I wish I had one of the original ones. That would be really cool. I've always got my eyes open for one too, right? If I could find a table radio that looks just like this, one of the original ones, that'd be something to have. But I haven't found one yet. I'm sure they're out there, but I just haven't come across one yet. Anyway, I have never had this unit apart, so let's just see what is inside the back of this radio. It'd be interesting to see whether it's discrete transistors or it's just a bunch of ICs. I would imagine this is just a basic transistor radio inside here with a bunch of ICs on it. But we'll find out pretty quick. Aha, as I suspected, it is just that. Just a transistor radio with a bunch of ICs. Actually, it's a module. Let's take the radio out because the dial light doesn't work on here, so that'll be something I need to fix. I like this. It's got a conventional power transformer, and this is the FM antenna, and as you can see, they've just kind of mounted the power to a little circuit board here that will give me a shock if I stick my fingers in there. Should I stick my fingers in there? I got the power off. So yeah, it's got the AC board and power transformer, and then here's the radio itself. It looks like the radio is just held in place with 4 screws. It's got a right speaker. I guess that's as opposed to the wrong speaker, right? But it's a real wood cabinet. I'm quite impressed. It's not, it's a real wood veneer. That part of it's impressive, that they actually made this thing out of wood. Very impressive. Let's pull the radio out itself. It's held in place with 4 screws. And I got to clean those controls and see why that tuner is doing what it's doing. I think these screws remove it. Grab a little bit longer screwdriver to make my life just a tad easier. There's got a date on this thing. This unit is almost exactly 30 years old. Cool. Date of manufacture on this unit, 26th of July, 1988. Today is the 24th of August, 2018. So this radio is 30 years old. Neat. As I say, I said I had it around about 30 years. So it didn't take that long from the time it left the factory to when it was in the stores. And it didn't take that long from the time it was made to actually get sold. Which meant that 30 years ago, I guess there was a bit of an appetite for these nostalgic looking radios. One thing, it is a nice sounding radio when it works. Well, it does work, it just doesn't work properly. All that noise on the tuning dial, and I guess the volume control and tone control probably needs to be cleaned too. But I'm going to replace the light because the dial light is shot. So now I've got to remove the knobs. I kind of be careful removing these knobs because this being a real wood cabinet, it will scratch. So I got to kind of be careful on how I go about getting these knobs off. They're on really tight. And that one's off. And that one's off. There we go. Okay, and they're all different. They're all different knobs. Okay, now the radio can lift out. Well, it can't. The speaker needs to be disconnected. Let's unsolder that. Okay, there's the radio itself. And as you can see, it's got the standard dial, like an old-fashioned radio it had, gear driven, and it's got a light behind it. And it's just an incandescent bulb that's gone bad. And if I've got the right voltage of incandescent bulb, I'll replace it. I just wonder why this thing, it's gear driven, so it must just be the linkage here. When I wiggle this, it's actually moving the physical tuner. I expected there to be a dial string of some type in this, but it looks to be, this screw here goes right into the tuning capacitor. So why the thing's drifting like it is when you wiggle it is it's actually moving this gear, I guess. Or the tuning capacitor itself is dirty, even though it's a sealed unit. It's a single IC solution, right? You've got just this T900BI or 1-K, and that's everything, all in one chip. I think the amplifier and everything's in there. Here's the speaker terminal. There's speaker wires here. It looks like this is everything. I mean, there's a couple transistors down here, which will be probably either the AM or I think the FM oscillator is down here, because we've got a couple coils, and here's the FM antenna wire coming in. These are going to be the AM. There's the AM oscillator, I'm sure. Usually they're red. And a couple of IF stages. Bar antenna. And everything is inside this IC. One chip. Volume control right here. Goes down to the volume. So everything. Oscillator, the IF amplifiers, and the audio output and everything looks to be all in that one chip. Interesting. Anyway, let's find something to replace this light bulb with. It looks authentic. I may put an LED if I can find an LED that's the right color. I may replace this with an LED, because I doubt that I'm going to have one of these lights like this. It's probably a 12-volt bulb, but I don't think I'm going to have one. I don't feel like driving in and getting one, but I might have some LEDs that I can put in here and make it look good. Okay, first let's measure the voltage and see how many volts this light runs at. Is it 12 volts? Is it 9 volts? Let's find out. So I've cut the light out, and I'm going to just connect my meter here, turn on the power, and we see we have 5.5 volts. So 5.5 volts. We're going to need a dropping resistor here. I'm going to use a white LED. So 5.5 volts. The voltage drop on a blue LED is about 3.3 volts. So I need to dissipate about 2.2 volts. 2.2 volts, they'll divide that by 0.025 for about 25 milliamps. Might be able to push this to 30 milliamps. And comes up to about 73 ohms for 30 milliamps. I think I can safely push 30 milliamps through here. So So I'm going to use a resistor here that I just happen to have. I just so happen that I have a 68 ohm. Let's see how bright this is. We're going to put it onto the positive lead of the LED, which is this one right here. Just wind that around there. Solder it down. One thing you need to remember is that white LEDs are not really white LEDs. They actually are a blue LED. They have the same specifications as a blue LED. What makes them white is the blue light from the blue LED shines onto phosphorus, which glows yellow. When the yellow light and the blue light mix together, you see a variation of a white light, depending on how much yellow is mixed. I was check to see which was the positive lead again. I think it was that one is positive. So we'll just connect the positive lead up to this resistor, see how it looks. I want to see what the brightness is like. Is it bright enough? Yeah, it's not a lot of light off this stupid light. These are pathetic. Probably not enough light to light this dial up. That's what my concern is it going to be enough light to light up the dial like the incandescent bulb did? Well, let's just see here. May need to put more than one of these on here if I want to light this thing up and make it look like the other one, because I'm sure just looking at the dial here, the other one was a lot brighter than that. That's the problem with LEDs, is that a lot of these things don't give off the light that the incandescent bulb did. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put 4 LEDs in. I'm going to put 2 of them in series and put a 33 ohm dropping resistor in each of the 2 that are in series with each other. And then wire the 2 of those together in parallel, and that'll give me 4 LEDs which I can stick down behind here, and that should give me enough light, I think, to emulate what the incandescent bulb gave me. Now it's pretty bright in the studio here, but the single one just wasn't going to cut it. So I think 4 might do a better job. So there's 4 LEDs together. And the dropping resistors as well. And I'll just put some heat shrink tubing around this so that it won't short out to anything. Okay, as you can see, we have 4 LEDs now, and yes, the brightness is slightly different on them. This is salvaged out of an LED light that failed. Give me a break. And the ground side. I'm not too worried about the ground one having heat shrink tubing on it. It's not going to go anywhere. Okay, now I just have to figure out a way to get this in behind the dial to light it up, and it should just like. I should be able to put this down here somehow. Stick that in there like that, and somehow arrange these things by just prying them around to get them so that they'll give me kind of uniform light, which is what I'm after, is uniform light. So I'll try and get them to shine around it to the back here, and yeah, it's not too bad. I just don't want any real hot spots. Okay, now I'm just going to give the controls a shot of cleaner. That's the AM/FM switch. Do the tone control as well. And on the other side, the volume control, which is accessible from the back here. Okay, I'll reattach the chassis. I just want to hook up the speaker again, but we'll put the screws back in to see how it sounds. Reconnect the speaker wires. Just be sure to get them onto the right terminals, right? The knobs go back onto the front, and they only go on in one way, on one direction. They're keyed, so that one goes there, followed by tone control, the tuner, and the volume. Let's test it out. See how it works. Oh, it makes it a bit better. I want AM.
Abbotsford. Having one westbound in the left shoulder. One is a stall.
Fast, frequent, affordable flights.
My AM station, which is just a rebroadcast of something that's on FM. Over to FM.
I know your love is finding me. It's fine.
I'm going with Happy
You're listening to this right now. It's not too late to get to the going, almost gone sale at Kudo. But if you're still listening...
The dial light's up okay, I think.
Like by 20, I don't know.
Et je reçois 2 réalisatrices, Shanice Molson.
My test channel. Put the back on it. We'll see how much better it sounds with the enclosure for the speaker. It'll give it a little more full sound. Okay, the back is now on the unit. I like this. Genuine wood veneer cabinet. Yes, we saw. Actually, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good, but hey, this was 30 years ago that they made this thing, so. Today, one of these things would be all plastic, and they'd have like a picture on it. It's got a couple of dings on this thing, which is to be expected because it's been around for 30 years here. Here it is, sound quality wise.
Linda Elliott and myself.
Hey, listen.
And teaching us to read it and write it.
Just taking it apart must have fixed that because it's not noisy anymore.
You have to learn the language.
Can't keep away. Another rooster crab. She got a butterfly tat on the back of a you-know-where. I let her lie by the wine.
Ados, personnes qui comprennent pas l'importance des fois de la rivière, des cours d'eau. Comme par chez nous, c'est des merveilles, c'est des bijoux.
Problem with these cabinets is they're a dust magnet.
Between the lines, what's fucked up? I want to bear with you. I want to care for you. I can't raise the lights.
Listen to this. This is AM. The fidelity of this is actually pretty good. Very impressed. The fidelity on this thing is for AM is excellent. That sounds almost as good as the FM that is being received and rebroadcast. I'm just rebroadcasting a local station here, and it's down like here. There's the FM version. And here is the rebroadcast on AM. It's sounding pretty good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one.